Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Soft Focus podcast.
Finding our groove.
Yeah, here we are. I think the next one will definitely be able to film. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Get some image up on this.
yeah. Our first one has like 85 views on YouTube.
Does it really?
Yeah. And
Is that based on like your subscribers?
we have like 2 subscribers, and I think one of them is in one of my accounts, and maybe one of Tamara's.
We're gonna
I was
build
like,
a fan base.
85 people have clicked on this Black Adam video, and I'm like, I don't know how many. I don't think people have watched a lot of it because there's no video, but
Yeah.
we're getting traffic though. I would
How's
say.
the second one do?
Second one is like 5 to 6, I think.
Views.
The second one, I think on YouTube they give you a lot. They give you like a bone on the first one.
Yeah.
Let me check.
It's fine. We'll get it.
No.
5 or 6 is good. Are those just us? Your mom?
No. I didn't share 130 now on the Black Adam one,
Oh.
but I think the watch time is
low.
pretty low. Yeah, the video itself is 2 hours, and that's the total watch time of the 133 views.
That's sick.
But that's okay. I think if we can get some video up on the next one,
We'll be
that's pretty good. I'd say that's pretty good.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm in no rush to get
No,
famous.
me neither. I mean, a little bit. Yeah.
So, what have you seen lately?
Lately, actually, I've seen a few things lately. Let me pull up the old letterbox.
Let's see it.
I think since our last meeting, I've seen quite a bit because that was like a month and a half.
Did you
ago, I
see
wanna say.
Cocaine Bear? I just saw that on there.
I haven't. I'm gonna see it probably. I might see it tonight, honestly.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah. I've seen Ant-Man, Scent of a Woman, 21, Triangle of Sadness,
Mhm.
White Noise,
Mhm.
Tar, Francis Ha. I just gave a rewatch.
Yeah,
'Cause I forgot a lot about it. Knock at the Cabin, Pinocchio,
And then
and
the
that's
last
it.
episode.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to make 2 things quick. One, or just one thing quick and then one thing long. One was just your kind of thumbs up, thumbs down, White Noise. Because I haven't seen it yet. Obviously, I'm interested, Noah, but
If I had to lean, I'd probably say down.
really,
Yeah,
it just
it
didn't
just-
scratch the itch.
It felt like it was trying to be like a Wes Anderson movie.
Okay.
There's a lot I really liked about it. Like I liked the way it was shot, and I liked what it was trying to do. But then the third act, I feel like, really fell apart,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels really long. Like I was like 30 minutes
Is it
in, and I
long?
felt like I had been an hour.
Is it long?
I think it's over like 2 something. So
Okay.
it's long, but
All
it
right.
felt like 3 hours.
Got you.
And I mean, Adam Driver's great as always, but it just was. And the song and the credits is really good.
Okay.
It's
I love that.
I can't remember who's it's like LCD Sound System, I think, did it.
Oh, is it
but-
Oh Baby?
No, it's
Or is
New
it-
Body Rumba.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll
it's
have to
really
check it out.
good.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
I was
check it
like, okay, this actually bumped up the score a little bit because I enjoyed that.
I feel like I was like anticipating that movie and then didn't hear anything. I guess because it didn't get Oscar buzz.
No,
I was
it wasn't good
expecting it to
enough.
get-
It wasn't good
I was
enough.
expecting it to get Oscar buzz.
It was very weird.
Mhm.
It was like a fever dream almost.
Mhm.
It just, yeah, it was trying to be a Wes Anderson movie in the dialogue and the way they talked, and
Yeah.
just really weird stuff happened, and then it connected at the end, but it didn't feel like it was earned at all.
Mm-hmm. My
I'm-
friend Danny, who you've met, he read the book for it,
Yeah.
and I know the books like are relatively famous, but I don't know. I'll have to see it.
I think the book's quite different.
Got you.
There's just like,
I need his take on it, honestly.
yeah, I'd be curious about that because the first half is kind of about one subject that kind of gets completely dropped in the
Mhm.
second half. And then I was like, what's the point of all that?
Mm.
And then it kind of explores themes about like death and stuff and about like how like everyone fears death in the movie.
Mhm.
And so I liked the themes it was trying to do, and there's some scenes that I thought were just really clever and character moments that I loved, like the way Adam Driver would do certain things with his glasses. Like it was funny.
Yeah, you're never not gonna like him.
And just certain monologues were really great, but it just never connected.
Yeah,
The ending was very not good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get you. Then the other one
Yeah.
I saw on there that I wanted kind of the thumbs up, thumbs down on, and I've heard some people's thumbs downs, if you will, but the Ant-Man, I was into it. Like someone told
Did
me.
you see it?
I haven't seen it yet. Someone told me that if you feel like the trailer is telling you a lot of the story, it's because the studio knows it's not going to do well. And I noticed that with Ant-Man on the second trailer that came out. But on the second trailer, I was like, wait, I could actually be into this.
I didn't watch the second trailer because I had heard that.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked the first trailer, like with Yellow Brick Road and the way the music hits.
I
during
did like
moments,
the
I
first
was like,
trailer,
this
yeah.
is hype. Like they
The
know how to
name
make a
is sick.
trailer,
It's one of the best named Marvel movies, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Quantumania.
and it is. And that's the thing is like they have these great names, but they don't really like go for it ever.
Oh, it
It
didn't
felt-
feel like Quantumania.
No, I mean it did, but it just feels very. I'll put it this way, like I'm trying to think of like a similar movie. Like Mad Max feels grimy and
Mhm.
dirty and lived in.
The road is furious.
It is furious, but the Quantum is not mania. Like the costumes were so like clean and pressed
Ugh.
and like in the quantum realm.
The
And there was some really cheesy acting, like
yeah,
very over the top.
probably from Catherine Newton, the daughter.
No, she wasn't.
She was good?
She wasn't bad, but like there was one warrior lady who was just very over the top,
Mm-hmm.
and I just didn't. I just found myself going like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
And I was actually excited because Eternals. Did you see Eternals?
I did not.
That got bad reviews, and I really liked that because it felt like a
A movie.
real movie.
Yeah,
But I don't think people wanted that.
it seemed like one of those where they were juggling way too many. There was what, like 10 superheroes in
Yeah,
that?
but it was just. I felt like it. I don't know. It was slow and meditative, and I liked it. But this
Yeah.
was just. And I was like, oh, people don't like it. I might like this one,
Mhm.
and it just doesn't.
Didn't do it for you.
I
I-
think
the-
Marvel's just.
The inciting incident, is it as dumb as the trailer makes it look in the movie? That
What?
like in the trailer it makes it look like the daughter just like accidentally does something and they all get sucked into
Well,
this
like
adventure.
they learn that like she's been Hank and Hope and the daughter have all been working on it. It's not just the daughter. like,
Okay. All right.
Quantum. You know?
It's like, oh.
No. It's like they all have been working on it, and then they go down there and they send the signal. It's really quick at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like almost like Scott giving a voice over his life, and then they're in the quantum realm,
Gotcha.
and it just felt fake. I don't know how else to say it. It just didn't
Yeah.
feel real, and
I-
I don't need it to be like the end game. They're like dirtied up and like it feels like they're in a war, but
Yeah.
in this it just didn't feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I don't see this in theater, it's, I don't know where I'm at with Marvel, but I don't know. Does it feel like there's going to be another Ant-Man, or are they kind of was it a wrapped up trilogy sort of
No,
vibe?
I think as far as a trilogy goes, I don't feel like it really like
Not like
cohesively
Spider-Man did.
finished it off. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kang character is definitely going to be back.
What is going on with Spider-Man in the Marvel universe? Because we left him and he was like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like a merger with Sony, so I think they've been trying to figure it out. But word on the street is it is happening.
okay,
Yeah, it is
Another
happening.
Spider-Man?
Yeah,
okay,
because I think Sony and Marvel always have to like work out the deals
Yeah,
behind the scenes.
every year or so, or
Yeah,
a few years.
so I think there's definitely going to be. I think Tom Holland probably just wants more money. Don't blame him. Like he can ask for it.
Yeah.
So, so I think that's probably part of it.
yeah,
And they're giving it a little bit of a break to breathe. But I think they kind of are like, oh shit, we need Spider-Man back
yeah,
because
That
right now
he
it's
was
just all
everything.
B-list characters in the Marvel.
yeah. They've got to, they've got to build someone else up or something. But I'm like, I'm definitely on this where. I know Marvel's been like multiple waves, but in my head, I'm like, wave one was everything through Endgame.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that wave I think will go down in movie history as just one of like the coolest things ever done in movies, and it's a crazy satisfying watch, and the finish, like, I don't necessarily love Endgame, but like Infinity War is good enough. It's all good enough that like I really do love that first wave. But I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way to do it better a second time.
I think
they
that's
have
why-
to. They have to go do it because it made so much money. It'll continue to make money, but it won't be as good.
I think that's why a lot of people are checking out because they're like, what could top it? You know?
Nothing.
And I think a lot of
31
people are being like
movies.
a little too impatient where they're like, it's not leading to anything. And it's like, Thanos didn't show up till like 4 years in. Like, let it.
We got a
Like,
little
it's not
post
like-
credits, post Avengers of
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll do it.
And then Iron Man, there wasn't like this whole Thanos thing in the background, but I see
No.
people saying like, we don't know where it's building up to. It's like, why do you need?
Is
to
this guy
know?
supposed to be the new Thanos? I forget his
Yeah.
name. People are dropping Kang. Yeah.
And
What'd you think? This was like his big debut, other than Loki,
I
right?
mean, people are praising it, and he is really good, but it's almost like the character's kind of. I don't want to spoil it, but he loses in a way that is like, from a writing perspective, makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically,
Yeah, I hate that.
he's
I hate
literally
that.
just like evaporation, evaporation, evaporation. He sees Ant-Man and he punches him. It's like, why doesn't he just kill him? Like he can kill everyone. Like, and it just doesn't make sense. So from that perspective, it's just like kind of cheap. And I
Yeah.
checked out a lot at that point. I'm like, if that's what they came up with, like, there could be something clever there, but they just
I
didn't.
think I don't. Because hearing you say that, I'm like right now. I'm trying to read the classics this year, and I'm reading the Iliad, and there's like weird things like that, like where it's like humans trying to fight gods sometimes, and things like that. And so I feel like it's like this thing that's like always in stories from the beginning of time, where it's like I think they did think it through, but it just does seem so stupid when you're watching it. Where it's like I think there's like some sort of like mythological. It's like, well, if you tried to do that with Ant-Man, like Ant-Man is like a pure enough like person on this earth that like he would shrink to dodge it, and like Kang is wise enough to know that he can't just do that with him because Ant-Man is, I don't know.
No,
but
I see what you're saying.
it does
Do you
seem
care if I
so
spoil
dumb.
it, or do you?
No, feel free.
Okay,
feel
so-
free. I like to be strung along.
So Michael
this
Douglas goes off and he finds. I'm spoiling the movie if anyone's listening,
journey.
but he goes off and he finds like a bunch of ants had shrunk down with them into the quantum realm.
Okay.
So he finds them, and this was kind of cool. He's like, the ants were like in this time warp or whatever while they were falling down, and they lived a million lifetimes. So they're like super advanced ants now.
I love it.
Like they're basically in this like technocratic society, like very genius, large.
I feel like I saw
giant
some
ants.
of those in the trailer.
And okay, that's cool, but it's like then Kang gets overrun by all these ants,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how he gets taken out. And it was just like, why didn't he just like kill them? Like it's not like if he was like looking down on Scott and they snuck up behind him, like ripped off his suit because his suit is what gives him power.
Kang.
Yeah, they could have done something like that. But
Oh.
instead, he's like watching as they come, and he just puts up a shield, and then they just break through the shield, and it was
Oh,
just
boy.
like, I don't know. I'm like, how did this guy take over an entire realm when like some ants?
Isn't he supposed to be like an omnipresent sort of character as well, or omniscient? There's
It's
there's
basically
like something
like,
to him.
and you see it in the post-credit scene, but basically like every version of him is obsessed with time.
Mm-hmm.
So they've all kind of cracked the code to living outside of time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like thousands of him.
Oh, so it didn't even matter that this one died.
Yeah, there's
That's
like
kinda
thousands
cool.
of versions of him.
That's
So
kind of
that's
sick.
pretty cool.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, how are we gonna beat that?
Yeah.
I'd fuck with that.
No, I think it's a really cool idea. I think Loki is actually like the only Marvel thing I feel like from this most recent
That you really enjoy.
that I enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Loki a lot.
I don't know. You saw it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is season 2 coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, that's my thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I definitely was interested, and then from the last one from your list, which we can talk about because I just watched this week as well. I believe it was one of the ones I saw in there. Tar. You
Yeah.
recently watched.
I watched
Yeah,
it.
watched it this week. Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked
It's
it.
fine.
So
I didn't love it the way a lot of people love it.
yeah. Well, what? Okay. Well, before I give my take on it,
Okay.
what are you hearing people love about it?
I don't know if I've heard like I hear a lot of people saying what feels like a Stanley Kubrick movie. I don't know if this guy like was a mentoree of trained by Stanley Kubrick or something, because I hear a lot of people using that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people saying like Lydia Tarr is like such a great character,
Mm-hmm.
and just like saying like, oh, the direction is so great. And I
Mhm.
just feel like on Instagram, whenever people posting like their top movies of the year, I saw
Mhm.
a lot of people put Tar
Mm-hmm.
as like top 5.
One of the top. Yeah.
And not that it's like bad, I just
Yeah.
didn't. It was good.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what I mean?
No, I'm glad to hear that. So yeah. So my take on it, and I try to cut myself off from all the media to have
Yeah.
original thoughts on things. my original thoughts were actually a lot of what you just said, which is interesting. The it being in a lot of people's top 5 list it feels like one of those films that like if like you're a film person and you're trying to identify as a film person, like you're gonna be like, all right, yeah, I appreciate Tar, even if it's like. But so yeah, what it is Todd Field. He's famous for being, I hope I got his name right. He's famous for being in Eyes Wide Shut
Oh yeah.
as Nick Nightingale, who's like the piano player that invites Tom Cruise to the first party, and I don't know really anything about it, but I just kind of I think for whatever reason, it was just interesting that this guy kind of pivoted to being a filmmaker after that experience. I'm not sure what he was doing before. And it's just, if you're selected to be in a Kubrick movie and it's such an interesting role, like him in Eyes Wide Shut, like
I gotta see
it
that.
it catches your attention. You're like, what a interesting choice. I love this guy. Like this was so perfectly casted. Point is I think they got a little bit of a relationship, and he got to see Kubrick work a bit, and I think he kind of caught the film bug, and Kubrick died, and so and I think he's only made 3 movies before this, and so I definitely walked away being like, that felt like a Kubrick film in a lot of ways. Not in a complete sense. I think Kubrick gives a lot more attention to detail and like the production design maybe, or just something felt, it felt like him still, but like the level of detail and the way it felt like he was thinking about film in it, I really did enjoy that. And it was one that definitely was going over my head as I was watching it. And I read about it after,
attention.
and the veil was lifted.
Okay, maybe I need to do some reading about it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I definitely appreciate the movie and find it to be really good, but I didn't feel a connection with it on an emotional level. And maybe that's because also in the description of the movie, it says, like, follows Lydia Tarr's fall from grace. So I knew what was coming, and maybe I shouldn't have known. I should have just watched it like, oh, she's just a composer, and what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you pick up about the story in the film? Because if you haven't done the reading, I've done the reading, and so like it got really interesting because I kind of walked away from it being like, that moment was weird. There was definitely something going on here, but I didn't really quite grasp it. I had to read about it, and then it started to make even more sense to me.
Like basically, she pushed one of her students so hard that they killed themselves. Is that what you're referring to?
So did you notice that student, the ghost of her is like hidden in frames throughout the movie? Like
I
watching
did not
her.
notice that.
Yeah, so it's a horror movie
Maybe
in
it's
that sense.
Maybe that's just because of like the screen I saw it on. I didn't.
Yeah,
notice
well,
it.
it's supposed to be subtle like that, and I think it's a film. Like I think any good film you should be able to watch an infinite amount of times, and I think that this film achieved that in some ways. And so, but yeah, she's basically a ghost in like a bunch of like. There's one time I noticed it, I was like, it like genuinely
Really?
scared the
When you were
crap out of
first
me.
watching it?
Yeah, she's in it. Like the ghost is in a chair, like watching her sleep in one shot, and I'm like, am I seeing that right? Like this is horrifying. And so, I think a strong point of the theme, right, is like, whatever this thing is in her past is haunting her.
Oh my god!
Kind of driving her anxiety and her decision making in the film. A few other things I noticed is like right before the third act, which you probably won't remember the exact moment. I've seen it more recently, but there's like she's trying to give that teddy bear back to the cellist that she has the crush on, and like the whole movie, it's edited. The editing blew my mind. It was so good. But there's this one in this one moment, she's in the car holding the bear, and then we cut to like outside the car, and all of a sudden she's outside of the car, and that girl's no longer really in the hallway where she was like looking at her, and like you just kind of like forget about it, like you're like, oh whatever, like you just don't even think about it because it's been so well done so far, but it's clearly on purpose, especially when I read that someone tells me it's on purpose, and like at that point. The argument is like the film almost becomes entirely like a dream inside of her head. And so the whole third act is like this kind of like if you were to think about it on a metaphorical level, like things are happening. I haven't fully unpacked it that way yet though.
That's interesting you said, because I was watching like a video this morning, like someone's top like 50 movies of the year.
Yeah.
And he mentioned Tar, and he was like, Tar's like one of the, can we even say she's like one of the greatest characters of this 21st century.
He wants to say that?
Yeah, he's like, we might be able to say like up there with Daniel Plainview, and forget all the theories about the third act being a dream, but I'll touch on that later. And I was like, huh, like a few people are probably saying that, but then you just brought it up, and I was like,
I think it tracks.
I don't know.
I think it tracks.
Where would it, and it starts being a dream at that point?
It starts being a dream at that point is what they say. And I wish I could. I would have to watch it again to get my thoughts on it right.
If it's in theaters, I'll check it out again.
Luckily, it's like that deep enough of a movie where like now that you know those two things, you'll see it in a different way. But for me, like what blew my mind is the opening scene. Also, there's a great shot. I didn't again. I saw it and I was like, and then I didn't think about it. The whole thing is that girl has red hair, the one that killed herself, and the opening shot, one of the opening shots of the film when she's having the conversation with the dude on the stage. There's just that shot of a red-haired person watching,
And you never see that again.
yeah, and you think oh, I'll realize it. That was just, that was that.
okay.
And but that whole scene, I was immediately pulled into the film because the dialogue and the editing and the shot selection were all so specific. And then just this goes for the whole film, Cate Blanchett, insanity in terms of just how precise the entire performance was. Like, that it's she absolutely killed it. She's got my vote for Best Actress. That's what I'll be putting down. But it's very calm and composed. Like it was so just everything was so precise in that first scene, and I was like, that's great. And then I realized again through reading that was on purpose, and basically the film unhinges as it goes, right? She's put up this facade, and we kind of just keep getting deeper beneath this facade, seeing who she really is, to where she's not this respected person that we see at the start. It's like, who is this, basically human or something. And so I just found that very interesting. And then another random little thing I noticed was the scene where she's like going in on that guy in the classroom. You remember?
Yeah.
There's like, I noticed the camera like get like bumped, and I was like,
really?
I was like, oh, that's weird. I was like, I wonder, oh, okay, like, filmmakers make mistakes.
No,
like
but
makes me
not
feel
like
better about
that.
myself. And I think it was just like, now that I realize, I'm like, oh, that was like the camera getting bumped was like probably on purpose. And if I looked at the exact moment it happened,
weird.
it probably has a reason. So like, he was very aware of the form of filmmaking throughout it all. And I think that's what's very Kubrickian about it.
Yeah, I do need to rewatch it. I think I just didn't connect with the characters. So like I'm like, oh, it's a really well made movie.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of all I have to say about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting though, that stuff you said. That like makes it way eerier in my mind thinking about it.
It gets
now.
creepy. There's weird horror movie scenes.
Yeah.
That like you just get like, I don't know. I liked it. And yeah, the character's really good. And then just like as like what's the film saying about anything?
What's the text messages?
That I noticed that. I was like, what is this software? What is that? The text messages, I believe, are because it's someone on the plane filming her. I think it's the cellist to either her assistant or to the dead girl, or so, I don't know if they're taking it that direction, but I believe, and it might. I'd have to rewatch again, but I was like, the cellist would be the only one on the plane. But it could be the dead girl that's doing it as well. But yeah, the whole thing, I think like the meaning, if you will, at one point where you can find it is like, all this stuff starts happening and like, it's kind of getting revealed that she's not a great person, in terms of how she treats other people. And like, as a character, you have a choice of how you react to that. And, it was never even on the table for her. She just almost like kept doubling down and was just like, no, I believe what I'm saying. I'm going to keep holding those things true to me. And, she ends up where she ends up at the end of the film, where, she could have just stopped and taken a moment and been like, what have I maybe done wrong here? But, her ego maybe didn't let her. And so I think that piece of it is at least what I took away, is like, what was the movie about? So
yeah, just like a tragedy, basically.
For all those reasons, I liked it. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Or like 7.5 or 8.
Yeah.
But like it's only because my rating is like a combination of like enjoyment and skill. Like it gets like a 10 on like the filmmaking side, but it gets like a 6 on my love of it
of
side.
movies. Yeah. For me, I'm at
So
the
I guess
point.
8. 6 plus 10 divided by 2 is 8.
Yeah, for me, I'm at the point where like the way I feel like I've watched movies has changed now that I understand, right, the form and how it's made. And so I'm like me pre that would probably have given this like a 6 or a 7.
Really?
But post it, I'm able to really engage with it more. I think that's why it gets a 9. And I'm just trusting where I'm at
out
now.
of like the filmmaking process a lot recently. So like to me, it's like, well, it does matter if you connect with it.
Yeah.
That does, at the end of the day, like that's kind of all that matters.
Yeah.
So
But some person could connect with it, and another person couldn't.
exactly.
So it's your
So,
rating. you know?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. But yeah. And then for me, last night, which I really enjoyed, which I don't think you've seen, Basketball Diaries.
No, is that Queen Latifah?
No.
Oh, it's just Leonardo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one I could never find online anywhere, but I was able to. I'm not able, it's easy, but I ordered a DVD online of it because I couldn't find it for years, and
Is
I'm
it Brendan
lazy.
Fraser too in that? And
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. Okay.
No Brendan Fraser.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think any
You know
other
what I'm talking
famous
about?
actors. I don't know which film that is, but yeah, it's him and Mark Wahlberg. I think you would very much enjoy it.
What is it about?
So
School Ties. That's what I'm thinking of.
oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's about so it's based off a memoir by Jim Carroll, who I didn't know of prior to watching the movie, but he had a band in like the 80s and whatnot, and basically it's about the memoir he wrote between like ages, I believe, 13 and 16, and it was about him being on his high school basketball team and then getting addicted to heroin.
Oh my god.
And it is
I didn't know it was like that.
yeah, it's like that. And it's very engaging. Leonardo DiCaprio, it's honestly one of his best performances. Like I was like, this kid
Yeah.
is killing it the whole time. Mark Wahlberg's, all the acting is top notch from all the acting is what really kept me engaged. Mark Wahlberg is awesome, and his
Really?
character is his character is just this hyper masculine, like,
Okay,
dude.
that probably works then.
Yeah,
I
and
feel
it's
like those are his best.
it's
So I don't
so
really
good.
connect with Mark Wahlberg anymore, other than like Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
I enjoy him in that, but even then, it's like there's something missing.
Yeah.
Still a little bit.
I read on IMDb trivia that Leonardo DiCaprio turned down the lead role of Boogie Nights for Titanic, which then
Damn.
led to Mark Wahlberg being there.
That's
And-
crazy. I would have loved to see Leo in Boogie Nights.
yeah, but he made the right
Yeah,
choice.
No, I think so.
But yeah, so the movie
think so.
it's very dark. Leo's performance is very good, but like it's also very much a 90s movie. So like
Yeah.
these wide angle lenses and interesting camera movements and just using, like music a lot through it, but it was a really fun watch. It was almost a 10, but I gave it a 9. But I don't know, very much enjoyed it.
Wow. 10? You gave it a 9?
Almost a 10, but I gave it a 9.
So is it even about basketball?
very lightly
Okay.
in the
I
basketball
mean, because when I see
scenes.
the cover, I just imagine it being like a high school basketball movie. or
He's
something.
like, it starts. He's like, our team was on track to win the state champion, which I think is all true. Like, I think there's narration in the film.
Yeah.
I think it's being pulled straight from this guy's memoir. So like, that's where the heroin and everything feels so real, and you're like, God. But yeah, he's like, we were on a state championship. I was gonna be on the All-American team, sort of thing. But the basketball scenes,
It's not
Jonah,
good.
it's so bad. It's just like you would imagine, where it's Leonardo DiCaprio like
He
dribbling a
probably didn't
basketball,
play it.
and
They
they're like
probably didn't have
doing
him
what they
practice
can.
at all.
Dude, I'm sure he dedicated like 3 months, but like it does not look natural.
work.
In this. He just like
Yeah.
clearly travels a bunch of times too. It's funny for that reason.
But I feel like in the 90s, you can get away with that.
oh yeah,
I feel like today you can't get away with something like that.
it killed me. Everything was a layup. it was
Oh
one
yeah,
of those.
I bet you. I was like,
Yeah, everything was a layup because they couldn't make shots. It was like Teen Wolf.
they could even do like I would be like, Leo, we're doing threes till you make one. We're doing just keep the camera rolling.
They had 1 3 in there.
Okay.
One jump shot actually.
But it was probably like from the chest, kind of like push.
If you can see it, it's so funny. There's like one where like it's like it's just clearly someone that doesn't understand basketball. Where like he's like dribbling to the hole, and Leonardo DiCaprio passes it back between his legs
Oh,
to Marky
no.
Mark, and finishes with the layup. It's just like,
With 2 hands too. Like,
yeah, you're like, all
that's
right.
not good.
And then you look at Jim Carroll in real life, and he's just like this like 6'7" dude who like clearly was like
Oh,
a
really?
top basketball player. But what are you
But
gonna
when
do?
you got Leo, you gotta just
Yeah,
cast him.
just these 5 like 5'10" white guys. We were the best school in New York.
I mean, in New York. I mean, that's like High School Music. A High School Musical, they at least like they could like Zac Efron kind of could handle the ball.
Oh yeah,
But then it's like you have these like college scouts like Duke and UNC, and it's like okay,
you're like,
calm
all
down."
right. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, no.
That's why Hustle. I liked Hustle.
I gotta watch Hustle. I gotta watch
all
Hustle.
like a lot of real NBA players playing characters. So you're like, oh, this dude's actually that good. Like,
yeah.
it lifts that sort of break between it. So I
Mhm.
very much enjoyed that.
Okay. Have you seen Winning Time? The Magic Johnson LA Lakers
Oh,
show?
I watched the first episode.
Is it okay?
I liked it.
But not enough to
Yeah, I don't
big
have
TV.
a
It's
lot
really
of
got to hook
time.
you. Have you seen Severance?
Oh yeah.
Severance is fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you recently watch that?
A few months ago,
Oh,
maybe like
okay.
almost a year ago at this point. I don't know
Okay,
when it
gotcha.
came
It's
out.
probably when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the final episode, I just remember the final moment of that was just like I love when
Yeah.
something culminates to the final moment and then ends, and like I felt like the show successfully did that, and
Yeah.
and
So good.
I was left very satisfied.
Yeah, I'm excited for season 2 of that. I don't know when. I don't even think they've started filming yet, though. I feel
Really?
like some of these shows, it's like you're making it, like House of the Dragon. It's like
Yeah.
you're making a season 2.
Yeah.
Why do you wait?
Give time for the
Yeah.
writing to breathe, maybe.
Okay.
What are you
okay.
gonna do?
Yeah, I guess so. You watch the. Speaking of Mark Wahlberg, did you watch the SAG Awards?
I did not.
He did not want to be there. It seemed like he was
Oh.
like presenting the best picture,
Oh.
and he was like, he just like was so like, I don't want to be here. And I'm like, why did they ask? This? All right, so I'm gonna do best cast and song. Like it was just like very like, and he's like,
Why did they
he
ask him to
announced-
be
I
there?
don't know. He announced it like women are talking
Wait, Women Are Talking one?
instead of women talking. No, but when he was reading them all out,
Oh, he
It was
goes,
just-
Women Are Talking.
women are talking. And I
Oh
was
my
like, okay, Mark. I don't know. I
That's
just
a
found
bad
that funny,
look.
Yeah. I don't think he gives a shit though.
Oh,
Um,
that's so funny.
No, I think what did win? I think Everything Everywhere won.
Good,
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
I think that's probably gonna win.
that was.
Best
I
Picture now.
hope I said this on a podcast, like on the first one, and been like, Everything Everywhere is gonna win Best Picture because I've thought it since I
Yeah?
saw it.
I thought Fablemans had a shot when it came out because it had some steam, but I feel like it's lost all that it had.
Yeah, I feel like it's Everything Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Women Talking, I watched that this week as well. Have you
I
seen
want
it?
to. No, I haven't seen it. I might see it. I think it's playing in the theater over there every now and
Mhm.
then, so I'm gonna try to catch. Because I'm trying to see All Quiet in the Western Front in theaters next
Oh yeah,
week.
that's a
Yeah.
good one to see in theaters. So which ones do you still need to see, and are you planning
I
to
think
see them
just
all?
those two.
Okay.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen all the others. Yeah.
Yeah, I had just Tar and Women Talking left, and I watched those both this week.
Okay.
So
How
I'm
was Women
checked off.
Talking?
I liked it. I don't know. I was having a conversation in my head while I was watching it because it doesn't offer a lot in the sense of the form and the script. I think like the ideas and the story that's going on with it are good. Like the dialogue itself, and because it's a lot of dialogue, it wasn't always doing it for me. The actresses are of course very good and are doing the best that they can, but it left. I don't know. I give it a 7 out of 10.
I mean, it's hard for. It really is just a dialogue movie in a barn, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a very
And that's tough to make like riveting. I feel like
yeah. Well, so basically, what it's about. Do you know what it's about?
not exactly.
Do you want to know? It kind of made it more intriguing for me not to know.
Then don't tell me.
Yeah, I won't.
But I know
tell
it
you.
has to do with like
Once I realized,
they're
I was
part
like,
of like
yeah.
a society or something.
Yeah, yeah. And basically
know.
like just like some crimes have been done to them. And
Oh,
so
okay.
but like when I was like, "Oh, like that's what they're talking about." When I was like, "What are we talking about?" "Oh, that's what they're talking about." That's interesting. It's
are
very
they
sad,
talking
but
about?
like, you know.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so what it did a good job of is it felt like it was able to mirror kind of what's going on with society and how like women might feel towards like the patriarchy in the sense of like we see all these issues with it, like we have this like the women have this option, right, with the men in their community, like we can either fight, we can do nothing and forgive them, we can fight, or we can leave. And then, you know, when you extrapolate that to like what I felt like the film was trying to say about like the patriarchy, it's like, what do we do? Do we do nothing and just, you know, go along with what this is? Do we fight or do we leave? And so like, you know, it's saying something greater in a sense as they're kind of talking those three options out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot to unpack, but acting is excellent. I don't know. It's just it's a drier film for sure.
Yeah, I gotta be in the mood for something like that. I can't see that like late at night or something.
Mm-hmm.
Else I'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just hard. You put it up against Everything Everywhere, an Elvis, Avatar, like everything aside, it's just like those films are like what is today, where it's like attention grabbing, high energy, and it's just it's not playing on that same field.
Yeah, and especially this year, it's different where a lot of those big movies are actually like well regarded.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the past, it's I feel like the last few years, especially like all the Best Picture nominees have been like women talking scale, or like the biggest. I think like the most expensive movie that one year that I think Grand Budapest Hotel was the most expensive movie of that year.
Really?
Yeah, with like Whiplash and Boyhood, and it was just like all these like smaller movies. Even though that year is so good for movies.
That's interesting.
And last year, I don't what Coda won. Like
low budget.
Yeah.
That was just a clean. That was one of those just like movie. Like it was just movie. Like it just was a movie.
No, but it
was
like,
good.
Yeah, it had everything. Yeah, I'm glad Power of the Dog did not win.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a movie I don't need.
It was
to
fine.
Remember. Like I don't need it to be remembered in the history books.
I watched. I was like, that's good.
Yeah.
Benedict's always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was watching a video on the Oscars. It's like an hour-long YouTube video where it just takes you through every single film that won Best Picture and kind of like what was going on in the country at the time, like why that won Best Picture. Mm-hmm. And it kind of gives a light to like, what is the Academy awarding for Best Picture? And one of the things, and you noted this, was that like around after Titanic, but a few kind of trickle from there, like maybe like a Gladiator, I forget. But basically, like there just became this like like when they say Oscar bait movie, Weinstein just basically figured out this like $15 million to $20 million like format to like make a movie that would get nominated for an Oscar, and so like that's what that was for a while, and the whole thing was like it's like $15 to $20 million. King's Speech is like the main one that I'm thinking of in my head, but yeah, so it's like that we were kind of in an era of like 10 to 15 years where it's like that was, for whatever reason, it was checking the right boxes for the Academy, and they didn't really know that like Weinstein was kind of outthinking them and had figured out a formula that played to everything they needed. But I think we're definitely kind of moving out of that realm.
Yeah, people recognize it if it's too on the nose.
Yeah, if it's too Oscar-y, aka like women talking, which I think is really the only real like Oscar bait movie. Yeah, and it's not even Oscar baity because I think that was a Sundance movie or something.
I don't know.
Festivals.
I would say Fabelmans is pretty Oscar baity.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if he was like gunning for. I mean, I think deep down he's probably always gunning for an Oscar, but I don't think he cares at this point. Also.
Yeah. I don't think he cares, and honestly, that film just felt like so personal. I'm like, I don't even think it can be considered or mentioned with a lot of other movies. It's so. I was trying to think like how many filmmakers made movies about them becoming filmmakers, and I'm like,
I don't think a lot have.
It's not a lot. Like I thought of like 8.5, where he made it about himself making a movie. But
there are a lot of movies about movies this year. I think just because of COVID, people wanted to like missed it a lot.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I haven't seen that movie Empire of Light, but that's also like a movie about movies. And then Babylon, and then I would even say like. I feel like there was something else that was kind of a movie about movies also. Not Elvis. Elvis isn't. I mean, there's the movie making part of it, but that's not a movie about movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think's gonna? What would you choose to win?
Best Picture?
Yeah.
I would definitely choose Everything Everywhere. And I think that's going to win. And if I was voting, I would vote for that. That movie just does everything for me. I've seen it 4 times now, and it just every time, some emotional response somewhere, some enlightenment somewhere. And it's not because I'm hearing something new. It's just to hear it again so clearly the way the film says it just like aligns me. It's I love it.
No, yeah. I mean, I saw this like in the round table. I don't know if I even mentioned this last time, but Daniel Kwan says like he's like, yeah, we just wanted to put everything we possibly could into this movie because we don't know if we're gonna make another one ever again. And I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do for their next movie because I feel like they just put
Everything.
like every idea they could think of. For this
I mean,
one. You know what I mean?
In some respect, I'm like, it almost just be like somehow it's just like an inherent law where it's like no matter what, there's like one film you're born to make. Sometimes you have to see the whole career because you might, I thought it was right. We could think it's everything everywhere. Then they make something else. I know that was the one that they were. But my instinct says I'm like that might have been the one for their career that like they were put on this earth to make because it's just
I can see that.
it's
but I still
jam-packed.
feel like they have more to offer. Like I feel like,
Oh yeah.
especially because like you can even tell like how low budget it is, which is kind of what I love about it. But there's like if someone's gonna give them $100 million next, and they could do something insane.
I mean, they've got the
You know?
A24 bond too, where it's like you get the free reins as well. You get the money and you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
and so they're in a great place.
Did you know they directed the Turned Down for What music video?
I did, and I didn't know what it was, and I watched it. And I was
I was like,
this
oh,
is
this
fucking
feels like them too. And
ridiculous.
Daniel Kwan is the dancing guy in it too, the other director.
Is it what someone lands like their butt on
Yeah,
someone's
it's
face?
him. Yeah.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
No, I appreciate. And I just feel like being on one of their sets would be really cool. Just like the way the actors talk about like, yeah, they gather around the whole crew every morning and do like exercises with them to get them excited and at peace and everything before they start the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I hope to one day be able to like have enough control over a film to like do things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I just, that's so far away at this point that it's like I can't think about that sort of stuff. Like how I would
No.
love to run.
You got to
my
make
set.
your Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know how they even got that as their first.
I looked into like how they became them and they met in school. And I think a big thing, like, they're both very unique individuals that then mesh very well. It's universe putting them together, but they were in, I believe, like a comedy group together, but they also were into all of that sort of like I guess it was After Effects maybe at the time, but those sort of effects into film, and they would put them into like comedy videos, and they had like a team of people that they would work with to do it. And so like when they had this team of people that could do these crazy effects, they had interesting, funny minds that could come up with crazy things. And then, they just got lucky. I think maybe they did a few music videos before Turned Down for What, but like, once they did that, it was kind of like they're in the business, they're able to make money making music videos, and then they thought about Swiss Army Man and were able to get that made. But that was like their kind of route up.
Yeah, that's a pretty good calling card, I'd say, all those music videos and stuff. And I think they did a lot of like, I want to say Old Spice or like spec commercials that are like really weird, like you said.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But I think their big key with anyone, it's always your interesting mind and who you are. But I think the big thing was having that team of people that just like whoever these 6 people are just love to do After Effects. Imagine like if you just had 6 people that you're like, let me just think of something and they can probably do it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that was like they didn't have a crazy big effects team for this movie.
No, I
either.
think
Yeah,
they
it was,
worked with like the
small people. Yeah.
same crew.
There's a lot of like practical effects, like with like wind machines and lights on the faces and stuff. Like it's not like in post. Like it's very on the day.
Which is again like right, and it looks better and it feels better for those reasons.
It does, but it does feel a little like. But I appreciate how homemade it feels.
Yeah.
Like the raccoon is not real.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it feels.
yeah.
I'm like I don't care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is interesting, and I wonder why I don't care about that. But it's just because it's true to the way that they're seeing it.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's like when they're
like when they're in the van or whatever for like the
yeah,
like obviously they're on a set and someone's shaking the van, like, you know what I mean? But it just
and you're like you could have production.
But the whole
designed
movie is that way, so it works. It's like in Top Gun, if something like that came up, we'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But the whole movie embraces that.
You're right.
Practicality.
I gotta see Swiss Army.
Yeah.
I really do.
You haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
I gotta rewatch it for sure because I haven't seen it since like I think freshman year of college, and I don't think I got it at the time.
Yeah.
Because it definitely has like an indie flair where it becomes like something different at the end. Not like very different, but like there's like a deep meaning to this movie.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't like. I think I was still too young to really comprehend.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about because like the theme or topic that they attack with everything everywhere all at once is like the main thing that I love about it, where it's existentialism or just dealing with like this. Now that we know like a multiverse sort of thing is
Yeah.
real, it's like, what does that mean for us? And just attacking that emotionally. So I was gonna ask you like what is that for Swiss Army Man, but it sounds like
I don't remember it
Yeah.
exactly, but it was definitely like, I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's like basically depression and stuff.
okay,
But
I'm into it.
I can't tell you without spoiling it, honestly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'll have to see it.
yeah.
I would expect because like I feel like that would make sense because like they're trying to heal pieces of people with what they're choosing to make films about.
No, like I really appreciated the message of this movie
Mm-hmm.
because that's really the key to like. I mean, it's obviously very hard to not like stress about the stuff we got going on, but
Mm-hmm.
if you can just like let go and understand that it really doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll probably do better at whatever you're stressing about.
Yeah.
Like you'll achieve it better and easier.
Oh yeah.
But when you overthink it, that's when it falls apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's what I
love
tell myself at least.
it. Can't keep
Yeah.
it all in your head. You just
Yeah.
gotta be in the moment.
Exactly.
That's what's so great because it takes you through like all the choices, right? Everything, and then everywhere. It's like you can. It's just like I don't know. We don't have to. We don't have to
All
go
at
through it.
once.
It's just great. It's just great. It's what the world
Yeah.
needed.
I do want to see it again. I saw it twice in theaters. My mom and I went to South by Southwest the year it was there, but we got
Mhm.
to like we were literally like we got to the place like too late, and we should have
You
just
missed
gone
it?
straight to the theater.
Yeah.
But we were like got there just late enough where there was like 30 people. Like we were like the 30th that could have gotten in, But if we were there like 30 minutes earlier, we would have been fine.
But so you didn't see it there?
No, but like that would have been so great to see with like a packed audience.
Oh, that
You
would have
know?
been great.
Because the Nick Cage movie we saw there, and I'm never seeing that movie again
Mm-mm.
because like that was the perfect place to see it. But I definitely
I
wanna
don't think you'll
go-
like it as much.
Go
if
to
you
a
did
film
somewhere else.
festival like that next year. Yeah.
And I saw Triangle of Sadness, another Oscar nom.
Did you see it?
I have. What did you think?
I thought it was good.
Mhm.
I didn't love it. I think like if we're talking like satires, I liked The Menu more.
Okay,
Did you see The Menu?
I have not.
I liked that more. It was definitely more of a comedy than Triangle of Sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the opening of Triangle of Sadness, like the models and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Macy's,
Yeah.
Balenciaga. Like that was so good. That scene set me up to be like, wow, this movie's like really gonna be well made.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just flatlined a little bit for me in the middle. I liked the date sequence. I thought that was a
Mhm.
great scene
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, "Are you gonna like take the check or whatever?"
Loved that.
And she's like, "I didn't see it." And like that was such a great back and forth. And then when they got on the boat, I just kind of it was a little too subtle for me to the point where I was like, I mean, I don't know. I was like, I get it.
What exactly
Like,
is
I
the
get it
movie
now.
saying here? Is
Like
that
I
what
already
you mean?
get that it's a satire.
Yeah.
After like the guy gets kicked off,
Yes.
I appreciate it. Someone trying to. No. Okay.
I do
I
keep hearing that.
Yeah, I didn't know if because we have neighbors who sometimes take Riley out. when it's gone, but
and they're trying to.
I usually tell them if I need that. So anyway, anyway. And then like he gets that guy fired from the boat, and I thought that was a really great moment. Where he like,
Yes.
hey, could you like, and then he sees him leaving and stuff, and I was like, oh man. And that I appreciate. I liked all the characters, but then it kind of and I thought what's her name? Is it Donnie De Leon or something? She's the
actress,
the
yeah.
actress who plays the maid or whatever.
Oh,
who like takes
yeah.
over on the island.
Yeah.
I thought that was really great. And the character of that, I don't even remember how it ends though. Like that's kind of part of my issue. Like
Oh,
I don't really, it
interesting.
didn't really like.
You
Do you remember how it ends?
Yeah, so I really liked the ending where it basically left her with the choice of like, do I kill her and go back and keep living as like
Oh,
the
yeah.
king of these like
Yeah.
8 people,
Okay. Yeah.
or do
Sorry.
I not and go back to being just a maid? if
No,
you
I
will.
did. I did like that actually. I liked how
Yeah.
open ended that was.
Yeah,
And it made you think at the end for sure.
and then it cuts to him running, and there's a great song that I love.
That I didn't understand. I was like, is he going to stop?
Yeah, I didn't
her?
understand
Like, is
it
he like,
either.
oh no, she's gonna die? Like, I didn't know what was happening there.
Yeah. I think it's, again, something you're supposed to project onto and make
Yeah.
your own decision about.
Maybe it was a little too subtle for me,
Yeah,
but I can appreciate subtle filmmaking. I just didn't.
it was subtle. It's with these subtle films, it feels like you also have to like, you have to stay with it from the start, and if you lose it, then then you can't really get it back because you miss what it was kind of saying subtly. That's what I felt like with Tar when I was watching it. I was kind of there. I'm like, okay, I get what is being said here, and then you like lose it for a bit, and then
I think that's how like I was pretty connected with the relationship of those two models at the beginning, and then I feel like we kind of drifted off to other characters a little too much to the point where they became side characters in their movie until at the end they kind of became the main characters again. To where I kind of lost the thread a little bit during that point.
Yeah.
But there was just a lot of great little subtle moments that I loved.
Yeah.
Like the Bill scene and then the getting kicked off scene and like the pretzels and everything.
The
where she's
whole,
like,
the
"Do you take my pretzels?" And like,
The pretzels thing is great.
yeah.
I love how like they made they even say in the movie that they made a matriarchy on the island, but it's like she's like sleeping with him, and
Yeah.
the girlfriend's like upset. Where it's like we've seen it the other way so many times. Like those little things are just a fun. It was the fun part of the satire, but the great scene that I really love, and my friend Wes, who it's his favorite movie of the year,
Really?
is the throwing up and the puking and them being drunk and sharing quotes and talking over the intercom, like that whole sequence.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And I that was just like really fun. It's like
Yeah,
gross
yeah.
and it's weird, but it's fun.
yeah, I can see that. I feel like it's a movie I need to watch again, like in much of the same way where like Babylon had a lot of moments that took me out of it. I feel like that movie had a lot of moments that took me out of it.
Yeah.
Where like I don't mind like throwing up humor,
Yeah.
but I kind of just I don't know. I wasn't. That's how I judge movies a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I think it's great, is if I kind of forget I'm watching a movie and I'm just like in it.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt like I was just watching something that was really well made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, for me,
So that's kind of all I really have to like. All I have to say about it at that point.
For me, I kind of realized when we were talking about kind of going over our heads, I felt it going over my head, but when I was watching it, I think this was actually what helped me understand it, because I wanted to understand it when I was watching it. I had the script pulled up on my phone. So
Triangle of Sadness?
Yeah, so I would like pause it and I could read on the script, like, and you almost see the filmmaker's intentions a bit more.
Yeah.
You're like, because like sometimes you watch it and you're like, you could think a million things about a moment,
Mm.
but when you read it in a script and it's like she does this,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, that's what he was trying to get across. And so that I think really kind of helped me get into the movie a bit more.
I can see
It's
that.
a short script too. It's like a 2 hour 15-minute movie, but a 96-page script.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It is pretty slow, I'd say. Not
Mhm.
slow, but like meditative.
It's paced.
I think stuff like that, like the reason I like the menu more would be like I think over COVID I spent a lot of time like reading about like capitalism and Marxism and stuff. So like
Okay.
scenes like the Woody Harrelson and other
Yeah.
guys scene, like that didn't feel new to me. Like it felt like the basic Marx quotes, the basic like it's quotes I had heard before.
Yeah.
So I kind of wasn't like, oh, this is so true. Like, oh, class. Like I think a lot of people
Yeah.
don't think about it a ton. But I think like at the beginning I already knew what the movie was going to be about, and it didn't really like I feel like the menu kind of pushed further.
Mm.
Like it was kind of like it made me really stop and go, wow, I shouldn't be so hard on movies.
Really?
Because it's kind of about this chef who like gathers up people who have been critical of his food.
Oh.
And is like, what do
yeah.
you know about
Yeah.
cooking?
Yeah.
Like I'm the one that's like doing all this stuff. And there's like a scene where he
Oh.
takes like this food critic and he's like, go ahead, cook something for me. And the guy's like freaking out because he doesn't know what to do. And I'm like, damn, yeah, like you have no idea how hard it is, like what you're critiquing.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that movie made me like step back. But this movie just made me go,
That's interesting.
yeah, class is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind
I
of
don't
like
know.
it didn't take sides. It was just like, look how like stupid just we all are as a society. Like
But
it makes like caring about anything like be like,
Oh, it
lol.
does,
Like why
yeah.
like why
Yeah.
care about anything?
I do agree with you on that. Like to
like
the
we're
point
never
where it's
gonna
like,
figure out.
like why do we care that this girl can't like get in the pool when the guest asks her to? Like
Yeah.
you know, like she's so scared of doing it, but it shouldn't be a big deal.
You're right.
You
You're
know?
right. You're right.
And like I did like how open ended it was at the end.
Yeah.
Like you said with the maid deciding, because
Yeah.
I mean the influencer does make an like it's nice, but it's also kind of backhanded. It's
Yeah.
like, you can come be my assistant, you know. So it's like, okay, she's offering me something, but that's kind of like still snooty. Like, she still thinks
Yeah.
she's above me.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that. It did kind of like make it go like, wait, I don't know whose side I'm on right now.
Yeah. It's a great movie at making you ask yourself questions. I think that's what I kind of took
Okay.
away from it, where I'm just like, I was like, dang, like, you know, you don't, you know, it was also kind of, I felt like kind of saying you don't have to pick a side, but I like thinking about both sides. I was like, oh, like, what is the right thing to do here, or the right way to feel, or between capitalism and communism? It's like,
Yeah.
what is, there is no right answer, was kind of like, I felt like the movie was saying, like, the check, like, is he right about the check? Like, if we're trying to, you know, should women step up and pay the check more? Like, it was just like,
Yeah.
he's like, look how ridiculous, like, either side of this argument is, with tons of stuff in that
Exactly.
movie.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I think also, like, Woody Harrelson's the captain,
Yeah.
but he's like never
There.
sailing the ship. I'm like, what is even happening right now? Like,
That-
he's at the dinner. Who's sailing this thing?
That's where you
I
get the
don't-
metaphor. That's where you get, you know, it's like,
Okay.
this world, America, maybe even specifically, it might be about. But yeah, it's like, who's sailing this ship? Like,
Yeah.
this dude's just over here drunk the whole time.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And then the one, like, short-haired lady who was like the one that was really keeping things together. Do you remember?
Oh yeah,
her?
yeah.
I was getting
She was really good.
I was getting strong AD AD vibes from her. I was
Oh,
like, she was like an AD on set, like her stress.
Oh,
level.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Or like on the island, when that one guy's like, "You're one of the pirates" or whatever, and he's like, "Is it 'cause I'm black?" And he's like, "No, no, no." Like,
and in the, right,
yeah.
I was like, what? I was
Wait,
like,
I-
is he? I looked in
'Cause
the
I
script.
hadn't seen him
He
yet.
was a pirate.
Oh, he was.
he was one of the
Oh,
pirates.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I
He's
didn't
like
re-
the pirate says or whatever.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's hilarious. Because I was like, "Oh damn, he isn't a pirate."
But he was.
Jeez, that's hilarious.
So yeah, I think reading the script it puts him
Okay.
like, it's like, yeah, you don't know. You're like, is he a pirate? I don't know. It's like, so the script gives light to it. Yeah. Other than that, checking off all the Oscars. I've seen Elvis 4 times now. I've
I
seen,
saw Elvis like 4 times as well.
yeah, it's good. I watched it on a Sunday during the day. Most recently, it depressed me this time. I was like, ooh,
Oh, it's a depressing movie for
very
sure. Like,
depressing.
yeah, there's not really like a happy ending to it, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it made me cry at the end. I think just talking about like following your dreams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he kind of didn't really achieve, he kind of achieved his, but kind of didn't. I think Tom
Yeah.
Hanks kind of, I don't want to say ruins the movie, but I kind of wish it wasn't from his perspective.
Mm.
He's a little over the top to the point where it's like,
Yeah, it's anyone that doesn't like it. That's the first thing that they say. They say Tom Hanks.
and I did like it, but
Yeah,
even I can like
you get it.
when I think about the movie and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's kind of probably my least none of my favorite scenes involve Tom Hanks
Mm.
in that movie.
Yeah,
Like I feel like he thought that was like an Oscar lock
for him. yeah,
And
yeah,
then-
yeah. It definitely. There's definitely something with it that isn't fully there. But I like, you know, I feel like we've talked about this before. But just like I like the question that it poses in your head, where it's like he says like there would have been no Elvis without me, and I think
Mhm.
he is right. Like he knew how to market him and promote him and
Yeah.
get him to be Elvis, but at the same time, it was at a cost of almost Elvis achieving what his true dream was,
Yeah.
and you know, so it was interesting.
tragic for sure.
Yeah, it's like, do we listen to the Colonel Tom Parker in our minds as filmmakers and artists, or do we listen to what our
Elvis.
hearts are saying?
Well, I think it's kind of telling you to listen to Elvis though.
yeah, it
'Cause,
is.
Like the trouble scene is one of my favorite scenes in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Just like the way it was shot and
Listens
everything,
to
and
his
the
heart.
drop and everything. Yeah, it's so good. Do you think Austin Butler or Brendan? Do you see The Whale?
I did.
Thoughts?
I don't know. I obviously love Aronofsky, but I felt like it didn't feel very Aronofsky-esque
I didn't love it.
as compared to, yeah. I wasn't necessarily too blown away by the performance either.
That's why I want. I mean, he was really good, but I think
He was
Austin Butler
definitely
should
really
win.
good. I wasn't blown away on the level as I was with Austin Butler.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely Austin Butler for best actor.
And Austin Butler has a thing where it's like, okay, he doesn't look just like Elvis. He looks enough like him, but he really does have like the essence, I feel like.
Yeah, at this point, he
Down.
might as well be Elvis.
Honestly.
Many times I've seen it, I forget what Elvis looks like. I'm like,
And if I saw him, I mean, I think when he sees himself,
he's like,
he sees Elvis.
he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
He's forgotten. He's lost.
No.
I feel like he's lost that line.
Which is kind of crazy. Like, I don't think I've ever actually seen like an actor go so
you hear
far.
about it, right?
Yeah, but like, even like the stories, like Heath Ledger, that's I think
That
bullshit.
could be. Oh, you think
Like
so? Yeah.
I think like I've heard that's bullshit. Where he was really just traveling and he was taking a lot of medication
Oh.
and just overdosed.
Yeah.
But people are like, oh yeah, he got so into the Joker, he like went. But like
Lost himself.
like when people in the movie talk about it, they say like, oh yeah, he was a great guy on set. Like
Mhm.
he wasn't like the Joker off camera. He wasn't like Jared Leto or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
That performance is insane. I just always have to say it. Whenever I think about it, Heath Ledger is the Joker.
oh
It's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
I still don't think anything's beat it for me.
Ever?
Ever. I could have said Austin Butler. It's truly one of my favorite, but like I'm just every time I watch it, I'm like I can't even see Heath Ledger. I
It's
just
really
see
true.
the Joker. And
Lately, I have been able to see him more. So I would say like,
yeah.
but yeah, it's still
Blows
pretty
me.
darn good.
And then I saw Avatar 2 another time in theaters in 3D.
I saw it twice as well.
I've seen it 3 times.
Oh,
now.
okay.
And I you know, it's still I still keep it at 8 out of 10, but I get it more. I feel what James Cameron is doing more. And I agree with my original take where I'm like, I think the next movies we get are gonna get increasingly more awesome. And this will be the not
Yeah.
as entertaining as the rest.
And the stuff we were talking about, like opening night, I've seen like news articles that I think affirm what we were talking about. Like next one is going to be Fire People.
Really?
Yeah, the last one, I don't know what number 4
What
is
is
going to
fire
be.
people? I guess we'll find
They're going
out.
to go to a volcano, and there's going to be people living among the volcanic.
What color will they be? Blue?
They'll be red.
Oh. Not black?
They might be black. I honestly think they might, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think they're going to be red, and then I think we're going to go underground,
Mm-hmm.
and they might be like gray.
Mm.
And then in episode 5,
That's all of them together fighting.
I heard they
some
do go
more.
back to Earth in the 5th one though, which will be fire.
No, I mean like
Maybe they get all imprisoned and they go
James
back
Cameron's
to Earth.
James
but
Cameron's got something nuts for us.
I don't know if I want
I'm
them to go.
zero doubt ever with that guy.
I'm excited though, because just seeing like I haven't seen a movie that kind of like put me into like a sci-fi world the way like even just like that
It's so
built city,
deep.
the city at the beginning of Avatar 2 on Pandora that they built.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called, but I was like, dang, this just feels so real.
Yeah.
Like it feels like all what I've always wanted, like some like a do you ever hear about the video game BioShock?
Yeah.
I never played it, but
Yeah.
like that's what I imagine like a movie adaptation of that game or
It
something
needs-
like
that.
that. Like
needs to happen. But it needs a massive budget.
but there's like depth to it. Like an Alita Battle Angel, that doesn't feel like a real city to
Yeah.
me. Even though James
I
Cameron
did
did
like that
produce it. I
movie.
did like it as well.
Yeah.
But it kind of has the problem that Quantum Mania has where the clothes feel like straight out of the tape. Like it doesn't feel
yeah.
lived in.
You're like, what is this?
Um,
Yeah, Avatar 2,
So-
every time I watch it, I'm just blown away. My eyes are like, this is great. My eyes are just happy the whole time. It's awesome. Another question for you. Are you watching Last of Us?
no, I actually got the game though because I want to play that first.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not watching the show.
I played like the first 3 hours of the game. I don't have the time for video games, and then
yeah, I haven't gotten
yeah.
time.
and then I'm watching the show now. But we'll save that for another time. I've got some
Next
interesting
time.
takes on
Okay.
that. I've had conversations with people about. I don't not like
you don't
it,
like it?
but
You don't love it.
I don't love
Everyone's
it.
like,
Yes, exactly. I'm like 9.2 on IMDb. I'm like, I just don't love it. I've been trying to figure out why I don't love it, and everyone thinks I don't like it because I've been talking with them. Because I'm trying to figure out why I don't love it, but I've
think we're
nailed
just
it down.
harsher on are these like film people though?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's sometimes easier. Because like I'll go to work and like I'll be like, students like, oh, you saw Quantum Mania? What do you think? Like my manager who's
Oh,
really into
yeah.
Marvel movies, and like I get it because I kind of liked everything that I saw before I started getting into movies. I never really watched a movie and was like, that was bad.
Yeah.
But now I can kind of see what's bad and good. But he's like, oh, do you see it? I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to shit on it, but
yeah.
like,
you don't
it's
wanna,
okay.
You don't want to
You know?
go in on the movie,
Yeah.
but that's what trips me out about
Well, it's
Last
hard to
of
make
Us.
a perfect movie. It's hard.
Yeah, the menu.
Yeah.
And I definitely, I'm on that same side. You know, it's like I can sit here and pick apart reasons why like I don't love The Last of Us, but you hand me the reins to an episode, I'm sure I don't make it any better or
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's what's interesting. I'm talking with my film friends about it, and it's like. And I'm like it's like lit like a Marvel movie, you know. It's kind of shot like they just choose the standard shots where it's just kind of the coverage and
That's
your cutback, and like it's very standard or whatnot. But like those are the reasons I don't love it, and like they just don't quite get it. Like they continue to defend the
I
show.
can see that. No.
And I'm like, but
that's
I'm like, guys, we're on the same side here, no?
But I think that's a TV thing because.
Like Game of Thrones has interesting shots, and this.
But I
doesn't
would
have
say
interesting
House of the
shots.
Dragon was very basic shots too. Like I saw them walk up to their mark and sit down. Like it never felt
Oh,
like.
okay.
Even though I loved that show, I think TV you just have to care about the story a little more.
Yeah,
because-
maybe that's what it is.
But I
'Cause
have
I
been
liked
thinking
House
a
of
lot
Dragon.
about that recently because I feel like in school at least they taught us to shoot coverage, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I saw an interview with Roger Deakins and he's like, John Ford didn't shoot coverage. Like he shot the shot he wanted.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just really trying to think about that. And I think that's what
Yeah.
separates like a good film from a great film. It's like when you watch like some comedy or something that's just like shot, reverse shot, and it just doesn't bring and the wide.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's like you can at least like, I don't know, like put stuff in front of the frame to make it just have some depth, you know?
No, I get what you're saying. For me, like as a filmmaker, I realize I'm like, cause like watching films like, a dodgeball or whatnot,
Yeah.
where it's just the coverage, that takes you into like the world in a different way and deeper, I think, into the characters' minds when you're not thinking about the shots.
Yeah.
And so I think
That's a good point.
a little bit in the future of film, and there's already filmmakers doing it. Ari Aster, he's just always the first one that comes to mind. But there's plenty of people doing it where it's finding this balance of like, when do we just do coverage so the audience thinks about something specific, and when do we do a shot that makes them think about something specific there, and finding that balance is what I think
Yeah.
is key.
No, you're right. But because you said dodgeball,
Yeah.
I would say dodgeball doesn't just do coverage.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about it now, and like there are choices in that movie.
There's
like
choices.
when they're doing the
I didn't
the
say
face
Anchorman.
off,
Anchorman has choices,
the
but yeah.
face off or whatever, and
Yeah.
like he like leans back and it's like
Oh,
the
yeah,
dust
yeah.
flies. Like there's stuff that happens in that movie. I'm thinking about like Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
Wedding Crashers does
Yeah.
coverage, I'd say.
Wedding Crashers, kind of modern comedies that like don't really
and
exist
Trainwrecked. I
anymore.
thought of Trainwrecked. I haven't seen it in
Trainwrecked,
forever. It just
yeah.
came to mind.
The
Or
Judd
Marry Me.
Apatow ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Knocked Up. Yeah, it's just kind of. But those are like more of like a grounded choice
Yeah.
to do that, where
Yeah,
it
you
feels
want
more
it to
human.
be. You want to focus on the performance. You don't want to take away.
Yeah.
And I also saw an interview with Ryan Johnson where he talked about, he's like, I learned early on, like, you could put two actors in front of a brick wall, and as long as what they're doing is interesting, like, it doesn't matter.
The shot will look good.
Yeah.
sort
And
of
I'm
thing.
like, okay, I get that. And I
Yeah.
think that's a good strategy.
It is.
Because if you're watching, like, a student film, it could be beautifully shot, but if the acting is, like, really bad, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
this doesn't, I'm not connecting with this.
I mean, I know when we were young, I would say things. We would say it's like if the story's there, like it's good.
Yeah, but you
Like,
need to.
I believe that, but I'm like I'm like the story, yes.
I went too far in that. I'm gonna be honest. In college,
Oh, really?
like I told my DP because I had so many shots planned, and I was like, honestly, I don't care about the lighting. I just want to get the shot.
yeah.
And you don't tell that to
No,
the DP.
no, yeah, you can't say that to the DP.
And I
that's
learned
his
my
whole-
lesson.
that's
I
his
learned my
whole
lesson.
purpose.
Yeah.
Or her.
But like there was a
Um,
wide, and I was like, no, this shot looks great. And he's like, no, but the lighting doesn't match. I'm like, can we just please shoot it for me? For me.
But
and
that's
the
your
guy, but I
filmmaking
see the
journey.
guy's stuff, and I see how good he can do it, and I'm like, damn, I kind of wasted.
Wasted
him,
him.
you know.
Yeah,
So I learned my lesson on that for sure.
definitely.
That's what school's for.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it is. It is. They always say like you got a couple bad films in you, and so at worst, film school is a place to get a few of them out of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like it's story first is what I truly believe. But I'm like if the second ingredient I think you need, right? Because I'm thinking like low budget, right? Like how do you
No.
break in? It's like story's got to be there, and I think you need to have maybe not one, but just like your actors. Like you need to have the right actors. I think like you can't just get away with anyone.
Mhm.
And you know, from my experience with with my movie, I really like the actors that I got, and I wouldn't even say that they were the reason that the film didn't, you know, really see the light of day. But I think like if you have the story and you have dedicated actors, they don't even need to be great, but you know, have a interest. Like if they're not great, have an interesting look, and you know, find the balance. I think those two things are where I'm at now are like
Mhm.
the key. I'm still
No.
like, you don't need good cinematography right out the gate.
No, and I've gone back on that where it's like, I think it's kind of like, what do you define? I think I've been thinking a lot, and I
What's
think it might be
passable to the
editing. I think it
audience?
might be editing more than even cinematography. 'Cause
Is
I
more
think,
passable, or like
yeah, because I've
yeah.
been like, because I'm like, why does this? Okay, this shot, like I've been watching a lot of like student films,
Yeah,
because I'm like, why doesn't this work?
yeah.
And I'm just looking at it, I'm like,
It's the editing.
I think it's first off, it's the acting. You can
Yep.
tell they're not making choices and they're
Yes.
just saying the lines. And then you can also be like, your dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
my dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
your dialogue, my dialogue. That's the edits.
Yeah,
There's no like, we'll cut to this person during this line to see their reaction and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it won't. There's none of that.
yeah,
And there's nothing like the character walks in the room and goes and like sits down. It's not like we're not like starting the scene in motion. I
Yeah.
think so. A lot of it is like editing too, and just
Yeah.
like keeping a pace.
yeah,
There's like too much. It's too choppy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think with editing, I think almost like if I say story and acting, I think, you know, I'm a big believer of films made 3 times.
Yeah.
Script, like you make the film, do everything, boom. Then when you're actually shooting it, like it's like separate, and then that part that's usually overlooked is the post, where it's like, all right, well, like again, forget everything that you have in your head and the way that you
That's
see
hard,
it.
but you gotta
Just
do
look
it,
at the
yeah.
footage and tell the story
Yeah.
a third time now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. No, I believe that a lot too, which is hard when you like, especially when there's a shot you know you love, you want to keep in, but
yeah,
no one else has seen it. You don't have to worry about it.
they don't know that they're missing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They don't know what they're missing. Yeah.
So we're figuring it out.
Yeah, but I still like watch movies and I'm like, how did they like conceive this?
Yeah.
And, like, how did Peyton Reed go from Bring It On?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very doable movie.
Mm-hmm.
To Ant-Man Quantumania.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you? And I do think his like inexperience on that movie showed just in the action. You're like, I don't even know where we are in the scene. Like
The fact that he was tracking it as the
it just,
filmmaker was
yeah, it
impressive.
just felt like I don't know if they thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, no, you need to like keep like one through line so we know where the action is.
Yeah. I
Um,
think storyboarding's big for that, but it's
I
just
don't think they even
imagination.
get to storyboard it too. The directors of Marvel.
Oh,
I
really?
think they have other people do that, which
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
Well, I think like storyboarding helps you keep
Yeah.
grounded, but yeah, I think it's just imagination. You know, it's like if you can dream it, you can do it. So it's just like imagine a
No.
crazy shot and then just figure out how to do
That's
it.
another
And like
thing.
that's how you do it.
It's like you have to have a vision for it.
Yeah.
It's like you see when people make a film and they don't really know. Like at least when I've made movies where I have a vision for it, it's like way easier. But then like a movie where I'm like, I think I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like it's not going to turn out well. You have to see the movie before you even make it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong believer. I know we've had a lot because I would be like, well, I want to hear the score in my head, like while I'm writing it, and if it's
Yeah.
not there, then I want to. And you know, I've learned that it's like you got to be flexible, and deviation is the key to a good film as you're making it. But I think that the dream is always keep pursuing whatever it is in your head because you're never gonna get it, and so it's.
Oh
like,
yeah, you got to try it as perfect as possible. Like
Yeah.
I'm really bad about this, but like with the auditions, like I'll do like 10 and I'm like, you know, I liked the little thing with my eye that happened in that one, but it wasn't in that one. And then like I end up looking for these videos for 2 hours and it's like, this doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But like you have to just try to get it as perfect as possible every time.
Yeah.
Even with writing, it's like, because you're not ever going to get it perfect.
No.
So just strive for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the time comes where you have to turn it in, you just have to turn
just
it
turn it in.
in. Yeah.
And it'll be better than something that you ever thought you could do. You just can't see it.
Yeah.
Is the hard part.
Yeah.
If you could look at it with fresh eyes, you'd be proud, but not
No.
possible.
My goal right now is just to make something that feels like a real movie
Yeah.
that you'd see in theaters,
Yeah.
not something that I just shot at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think where I'm at with
And I feel like you did that with Plymouth Period. Genuinely. I don't feel like that felt like a student film.
Well, thank
which
you.
I really want to say.
I appreciate that. The thing that I took away from it, and I really learned this with the last Advil, that short film that I made. I'm like, that's why I'm so like researching story as close as I am, because I'm like, that's at least for me next, and I feel like it's a big piece. Once I get the story, how to really make a story click down, like that's that next layer of like, oh, this feels like a movie. So
No, yeah, because if you can get that one moment that like clicks at the end, like it doesn't really matter what you did the whole movie. Like, and even like Top Gun, like when he flies that trench run, like it's so cliche, but I was like so in it.
it's sick.
I know, like when they're like standing, I'm like, oh my, he's fucking doing it.
We talked about a ton of Oscar movies today. I don't know which ones we left off, but I know we left off.
I think Top Gun has a shot. I really do. I really do.
I don't want it to have a shot.
Why?
It scares me.
Why?
Because there's much better movies. And that one would only win
But-
because it came out and brought people back to theaters.
But it feels like
it's a normal movie.
you know the Harry Styles quote where from when he
As it was?
no from when he was at
Dunkirk.
Cannes when he was
No.
at Cannes.
Okay, what?
It's like that movie feels like a movie.
Okay.
Top Gun feels like a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It's not bad.
look,
It's just
I don't.
not best
I
picture.
wouldn't vote for it, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised if it won.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be very upset. Just because I look at Elvis and I look at
Yeah,
and I
it
look
doesn't
at everything
really.
everywhere, where I'm like, I just love those movies too much.
And I'll say I was watching it, and there's scenes with Tom Cruise where like, and all those other movies, I feel like the actors really dig deep.
Yeah,
I don't think Tom Cruise really went there.
he wasn't digging anywhere.
I saw him trying. When he was looking in the
He
bar
doesn't have
at
the energy
Goose. I
for it
saw him
anymore.
like
60 something.
trying
Yeah,
so hard to feel something.
but he can't. He's
But
a
it-
hardened man.
And he got that little glimmer in his eye that the director's like, okay, that's good enough.
Maybe if I understood what it was like to be 60, I would like the movie more and see what's going on emotionally with
Dude, if I was 60 and I've been out of the game, like the physic, if I've been out of
it.
like
He's never been
moving
out of the
around,
game.
you know,
He's
not
always
Tom
been-
Cruise, but like
yeah,
these
yeah.
these guys who are like, damn, I should have.
The character
something with
he's
my life."
playing,
Yeah,
yeah,
but like
yeah,
the
yeah.
guys that went and saw the movie,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know,
That resonates with them.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I only remember like 2 of the pilots. I feel like I should remember more of the pilots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these characters weren't fleshed out as much as they could be. And the other one thing that keeps me from being like that's a Best Picture winner is the scene where him and it's like supposed to be Take My Breath Away Part 2, and it's him and Jennifer.
You didn't like the
Connelly.
Lady Gaga? I thought that.
No. I liked Hold My Hand, but that's only in the end credits. I'm talking this. There's a romantic scene between him and her,
Oh.
and it's just if you watch it, it's funny if you watch it. It's 3 of like the exact same shot in a row, and they just opacity transition between like 3 of the same camera movements, and them like not even really kissing, fully clothed together in bed. I'm just like. Right
It
there,
just
I'm
didn't
like,
hit
that's
you?
not Best Picture. Like, at least take your,
Okay.
I don't know.
At least take your clothes
Like,
off.
get like kissing, get like her on
No.
top of him on top of her. Like, make me believe, put him in silhouette, like in the
Yeah.
original. It was just like that one moment. I was like,
I can see that.
it really takes me
And
out.
it just felt so. Like I remember, I was sitting in the theater and I was just like, I had like a tear fall down my face because I'm like, I just love movies. Like
Yeah.
when he rips the thing off the motorcycle,
Yeah.
throws on the jacket, rides down and the plane's flying next to him and the score's
That's
blasting. I was
sick.
like, this is what it's about.
The
You know what I
stupid
mean?
football scene is sick with the One Republic song that I love. The opening is sick, and then the last 30 minutes are sick. Like it's a sick movie. It's a 9 out of 10. But the last 30 minutes of the movie are some of the best theater experience I've ever had. From him showing up to do the run to
Yeah.
the end of the film is like I'm like that's why I paid to see it twice. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, I can see that. I just think it's got a shot. I wouldn't. What else is there? There's Top Gun.
Yeah.
Avatar
Have we
2.
forgot anything? Triangle of Sadness, Tar, Women Talking,
Banshees?
Banshees. We haven't talked about Banshees.
I don't think Banshees.
Is that the
is.
only one that we have left that we haven't talked about?
Unfortunately, I do have to leave now, though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
my take on Banshees is I liked it. My favorite
I
Martin
liked it
McDonagh
enough
movie-
too.
Damn. We'll pick up next one with
No,
this. But I saw
honestly.
In Bruges recently,
I
which I,
gotta
really
rewatch
liked,
that.
and it rivals Banshees. I might like it better than Banshees, but I love.
Okay.
It was the first. I hadn't seen In Bruges. It was the first Martin McDonagh film. I was like, that was sick. I loved that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. thank you so much for watching, listening, subscribing,
Loving.
guessing. Soft Focus Podcast.
We out.
We out.